What's up, my friends? Thank you for pressing play on your New Year's Eve to listen and watch this episode. And welcome to a brand new chapter here at the Influence Exchange. I'm your host, JV, and if you're listening right now, you officially stepped into 2026. Woo! Let's clap. This is just not a new year, it's a new standard. Because today isn't about resolutions, it's not about hype, and it's definitely not about promises we make when we are motivated and then abandoned when life gets busy. This episode, I talk about 5 topics to step into the new year. The 5 topics are: this year isn't your reset, your choices are. Stop chasing goals and start building identity. The habit that will define your year. What you must leave in 2025. And last, the 2026 Leadership Challenge. This episode is also about something far more important: who you decide to become when no one is watching. Because a new calendar doesn't change anything, but a new commitment changes everything. And here's the critical truth most people miss. You don't enter a new year, you carry yourself into it. You bring your habits, your mindset, your standards, your discipline, your fears, your excuses, your routines, and your leadership or lack of it. So the question isn't what year you're in, the question is what version of you just showed up. Because January doesn't reset life, only decisions does, only ownership does, only discipline does. And in 2026, we are no longer running on emotion. We are no longer chasing motivation, and we are no longer waiting for clarity to fall in our laps. This is the year you stop reacting and start leading by your mindset, leading by your time, leading by your habits, leading by your energy, leading by your life, not with pressure, but with purpose, not with panic, not with accuracy, not with perfection, with your presence. So today, we're not here to talk about a new year. We are here to talk about a stronger standard, a sharper identity, a clearer decision, a firm commitment to execution over excuses. If you're ready to stop restarting and start building something that lasts, then you're in the right place. Let's lead yourself into 2026 the way influence is meant to begin, from the inside out. So let's jump into topic 1. The year isn't your reset, your choices are. January doesn't make you disciplined. A new date doesn't make you focus. A fresh calendar doesn't give you confidence. Only your decisions do. This year won't change unless you do. Most people walk into January full of emotion and walk out of it unchanged. They start with excitement, then slide back into the same habits, the same thinking, the same routines by February. Not because they don't want growth, but because they never challenge their standards. And in 2026, we're not upgrading hope. We're not renewing motivation. We're not downloading another podcast episode and calling it progress. We are raising the standards. Standards decide what you tolerate. Standards decide what you repeat. Standards decide what you become. And most people don't fail because they aim too high. They fail because their standards are too low. They negotiate with discomfort. They justify distractions. They rationalize weakness. They normalize inconsistency. And then they wonder why nothing sticks. Listen to me closely. You cannot expect a disciplined life with undisciplined habits. You cannot build confidence on inconsistency effort. You cannot lead yourself forward while constantly making excuses backward. Now, here's where I want to get personal with you for a moment. If you're listening to this right now, you're not here by accident. You could be anywhere scrolling on your phone, distracted, zoned out, or getting ready to bring in the new year. But you press play. That tells me something about you. It tells me part of you is ready for more. Part of you is tired of restarting. Part of you outgrown the version of yourself that tries but doesn't commit. And I want you to hear this from me directly. I'm not speaking at you, I'm speaking with you. I've lived this lesson. I've wrestled with comfort. I battled consistency. There has been times where discipline slipped and consistency spoke. There isn't theory to me. This is real life. And that's why I'm telling you, change does not announce itself. It does not arrive with fireworks. It does not show up loud. It shows up quietly in decisions no one claps for, in habits no one sees, in self control no one celebrates. This year will remind the people who build when no one's watching. Not the loudest, not the luckiest, not the most consistent. And here's the standard shift I want you to make today. Stop asking, what do I want to change in 2026? And start asking, what am I no longer willing to tolerate? Because growth doesn't start with ambition, it starts with disallowing the version of you that keeps settling. So let me ask you directly, where have you been letting yourself slide? Where have you been making quiet excuses? What standards have you outgrown but haven't replaced? Because the version of you that built comfort can't lead you into purpose. And if you're serious about 2026 being different, it won't be because you wrote something down. It will be because you change how you move, you change what you allowed, you change how you showed up, you change who you tolerate being. And that's not a resolution, that's leadership. And leadership always starts with yourself. Now, let's dive into topic 2. Stop chasing goals and start building identity. A goal is something you want, identity is who you become. And that distinction changes everything. Goals expire, identity endures, goals live on paper, identity lives in behavior, goals motivate for the moment, identity moves you when motivation dies. That's why people don't fail because their goals were unrealistic. They fail because their identity never changed. They set goals with the same habits, they growth with the same mindset, they expect transformation with the same standards, and it doesn't work because the problem is never the goal. The problem is the person trying to reach it. Let me say this clearly with respect and realism. You don't wake up one morning and accidentally become disciplined. You don't trip into focus. You don't stumble into confidence. You decide who you are, and then you behave accordingly. That's identity leadership. Identity is the internal standard you operate from. It's the voice in your head when no one is watching. It's what you default to when life gets uncomfortable. It's how you act when motivation is gone and accountability is quiet. So let's flip the script for 2026. Stop asking, what do I want this year? And start asking, who do I refuse to be this year? Because real growth is subtraction before it is addition. Who are you done being? The person who starts strong and fades fast, the person who waits for motivation, the person who negotiates with discipline, the person who means well but doesn't follow through, that version served a season. But that season is over because identity is built when repetition meets decision. And once identity shifts, your habit falls in line, your time reorganizes, your thinking matures, your discipline sharpens, your influence expands, your standards rise, your tolerance drops. This is why I want you to stop saying, I'm trying, and start saying, this is who I am. Because the word I'm trying leaves room for escape. This is who I am creates obligation. And trying is optional, while identity is binding. And when your identity is clear, your excuses are not. Let me put this in practical leadership terms. If you decide I am a disciplined person, you don't debate the alarm clock. If you decide I am a focused person, you don't keep toxic distractions around. If you decide I am a leader in my home, you don't bring pressure where your peace belongs. If you decide I am a builder, not a drifter, you stop waiting to feel ready. You move. Identity make decisions automatic. Goals make decisions emotional, and emotional decisions don't build strong years. Disciplined identity does. Now ask yourself something and be honest. Who have I been practicing on becoming? Not who you told people you're become. Who have you trained yourself into? Because your routines are rehearsals, your habits are rehearsals, your excuses are rehearsals, and the person you become in 2026 will be the version you've been practicing all along. So decide now, strategically, intentionally, and unapologetically, who are you building? Because once identity is set, goals stop being heavy, they start being unavoidable. Now, let's jump into topic 3, the habit that will define your year. You don't rise to goals, you fall into habits. And in 2026, this is the year you finally stop confusing intentions with systems. Because hope is not a method and motivation is not a plan. What you do daily doesn't just shape outcomes, it shapes identity. So if you're serious about changing your year, you don't start with vision boards, you start with structure. In 2026, don't build ambition, build systems that don't depend on feeling good. Because the most powerful people you know are not the most hype. They are the most consistent. Now let's operationalize this. I'm not asking you to reinvent your life. I'm asking you to stabilize it. With research, here are 5 habits that, if you commit to nothing else, will redefine everything. Number 1, a morning routine wins the day before it wins you. Before the world speaks into you, before your phone tells you who to become, before responsibilities grab your attention, you choose your tone. A morning routine doesn't need to be dramatic. It needs to be deliverable. Whether it's 5 minutes of silence, a workout, journaling, planning your top 3 priorities, reading something intentional, the goal is simple. Start the day on purpose, not on accident. Because whoever controls your morning controls your temple. Number 2, a decision measure. Eliminate emotional leadership. Most people don't fail because of lack of intelligence. They fail because of too many emotional decisions. A decision measure is pre-deciding who you are before temptation and convenience has a chance to negotiate. By establishing when you work, when you rest, when you train, when you say no, when you disconnect, Routine removes friction. Automotion beats willpower. Leadership isn't about making new decisions every day. It's about removing unnecessary decisions entirely. Number three, a reflection habit. Growth requires awareness. You can't fix what you won't face, and most people move so fast they never check their direction. Reflection is how you correct drift, regain focus, reframe pressure, rebuild intention, whether it's journaling, conversation, prayer, or silence. Schedule your time. What worked? What didn't? What do I adjust? What do I stop tolerating? If you don't reflect, your life becomes a reaction cycle. Number four, a self respect routine. Discipline is future loyalty. Self respect is not a feeling, it's a habit. It's working when you'd rather scroll on your phone, training when you'd rather sit on the couch, speaking when you'd rather stay silent, resting when you'd rather prove something, walking away when you'd rather stay stuck. Discipline is how you prove to yourself that you can be trusted, and the more your word to yourself holds weight, and the less outside validation you require, that's power. Number five, a weekly reset. Never let a bad week become a bad year. You don't need life to be perfect. You need it to be reviewed. The weekly reset is how leaders regroup mentally, reset emotionally, re enter the week intentionally. And this is where you ask, what am I still tolerating? Where am I coasting? What boundary needs adjusting? What system needs tightening? Most people wait for a breakdown to reset. Leaders reset before collapse. Let me make this crystal clear. You don't need a new year, you need a new structure. Transformation is not loud, it is repetitive, and the life you want is not built in moments of inspiration. It's built quietly. So when someone asks next December, how did your year change so much? Your answer won't be because I got motivated. It will be because I got discipline. And discipline is just identity in action. Let's dive into topic 4. What you must leave in 2025. Let's be honest, you cannot carry everything forward. Some things don't belong in your next season. Some habits have an expiration date. Some mindsets are too heavy to take with you into 2026. And if you try to bring everything with you, you will slow your growth before the year even starts. Because the truth is this, change doesn't begin with addition, it begins with elimination. You don't move forward by collecting more, you move forward by letting go. So here's your leadership inventory. What stays in 2025, where it begins. Old excuses. Whatever story you've been telling to explain your stagnation, leave it here. You don't need another justification. You need a new standard. Because in 2026, excuses are not explanations, they are agreements with limit and weak boundaries. If everyone has access to you, you will always be distracted. If everything gets a yes, nothing gets done well. Boundaries don't make you cold, they make you effective. And in 2026, you stop allowing what you would never chose. Negative self-talk. That voice that says, you're behind, you always mess things up, you can't change, you're not enough, that does not come with you. That voice is not the truth. It's your past leaking into the present. And this year, you stop letting yesterday define tomorrow. Emotional avoidance. No more pretending. No more dodging the hard conversation. Growth requires confrontation, not with people, but with yourself. What you refuse to face continues to follow. 2026 is where you stop running from reality and start reshaping it completely. Comparison. In 2026, you stop borrowing timelines. You stop competing with highlights. You stop shrinking because someone nearby is louder. Comparison is insecure with good lighting. This year, you run your race at your pace with your values because confidence comes with clarity, not rivalry. Fear driven decisions. Fear does not get a seat at the table anymore. Not in your career, not in your relationships, not in your identity. 2026 is where choices replaces caution and courage becomes your baseline. Overthinking. Thinking doesn't equal progress. Overthinking is just procrastination in a tuxedo. You don't need more analyzing. You need execution. Leadership is not built in your head, it's built in motion. People pleasing. You are not here to be manageable. You are not here to be impressed easily. You are not here to live on approval. 2026 is not the year you explain yourself. It's the year you honor yourself. Comfort first living. Comfort feels good, safe, familiar, predictable, but comfort also keeps you the same. In 2026, discomfort becomes your teacher because pressure creates presence and difficulty creates discipline. Let me say something bold. You don't enter 2026 lighter until you put something down. And if you don't choose what leaves, life will eventually choose it for you, often painfully. Leadership is subtraction. It's deciding what no longer belongs. It's not about regret. It's not about release. It's not about guilt. It's about growth. So before you step into the new year, ask yourself this. What am I carrying that has already expired? What version of me needs to be retired? What comfort have I outgrown? What belief no longer fits? Because in 2026, you don't carry dead weight. You walk into it clean, clear, and ready. Now, let's dive into the last topic, the 2026 Leadership Challenge. Let's bring everything together, not with a resolution, not with a wish list, not with a motivational quote, with actionable leadership, because influence doesn't grow from intention alone, it grows from execution. So for 2026, I'm giving you a challenge, not to overwhelm you, but to focus you. Not a list of 20 habits, not an unrealistic lifestyle overhaul, just 3 moves that, if taken seriously, will quietly and permanently change your life. Let's dive into it. Number 1, one rule, your non negotiable. Every high performing leader has a rule they refuse to break. Not because it's easy, but because it defines them. This is not a preference, this is a line in the sand. Your personal standard, something you will protect even when it's inconvenient. A few examples. I do not speak negatively about myself. I do not break promises to myself. I do not stay silent when something matters. I do not sacrifice my health for productivity. I leave situations that disrespects my values. I show up early, not just on time. I don't let stress give me permission to be careless with people. One rule, one foundation. Because your identity is built on what you refuse to compromise. Number 2, one habit, your identity builder. Not 10 habits, not a total lifestyle reset, just one repeatable action that builds the person you want to become. And it doesn't need to be flashy, it needs to be reliable. Ask yourself, what behavior would prove I'm serious about who I say I'm becoming? It could be morning discipline, wake up time, journaling, planning. Evening reset, reflection, gratitude, no phone time. Daily movement, weekly planning system, personal study or reading, mindset work, emotional regulation routine. This habit doesn't need to impress anyone. It just needs to be done because repetition builds reputation. First internally, then externally. And when you show up for yourself daily, you stop negotiating with your future. Number three, one bold move. Your confidence act. This is where it gets real. Do one thing in January that scares you, strategically, not impulsively, not emotionally, intentionally. Something that makes your stomach tighten a little when you think about it. Here's a few examples. Apply for the role, launch the project, speak your truth in a hard conversation, set a boundary you avoided, start the thing you've been delaying, ask for the opportunity, say no when you've been uncomfortable. And here's why this matters. Confidence is not built through affirmations, it's built through proof. And nothing proves confidence like action. This move will do more for your self belief than 100 motivational videos ever could. Now, let me make this clear. Your challenge isn't about pressure, it's about leadership. Because leadership doesn't start in public, it starts in private. Leadership begins with self respect, self trust, self discipline, and self honesty. And this is how you build it. You don't wait until you feel ready, you move so you become ready. With that, your 2026 leadership equation: one rule defines your identity, one habit defines your discipline, one bold action upgrades your confidence. And if you commit to this, not casually, not self-hearted, fully, 2026 will not look like your past. It will look like your decisions because leadership is not about declaring change. It's about protecting it. And your next level does not need permission. It needs motion. 2026 doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be present. It doesn't need hype. It needs discipline. It doesn't need another version of you built on promises. It needs the one who finally decides to follow through. Because the future is not built by excitement, it's built by standards. And this year, we rise them. We rise how we speak to ourselves. We rise how we tolerate. We rise how we prioritize. We rise how we show up when it's hard. We rise when we lead when no one is watching. 2026 is not about perfection. It's about progression. Not overnight change, but daily commitment. Not a new personality, but a stronger identity. So if you take nothing else from this episode, take this. The version of you that shows up most consistently wins. Not the loudest, not the luckiest, not the most talented, the most disciplined. And if today lit something in you, don't let it fade. Don't let it become another moment that passes. Turn it into movement. Share this with someone who's ready to stop restarting and start leading. Subscribe, leave a review, and stop negotiating with your future. Now, before I go, I want to say this from the heart. To every single one of you who pressed play, who listened in a car, on the treadmill, in the kitchen, on your drive home, in quiet moments when you needed clarity, thank you. Thank you for trusting this space with your time. Thank you for being open to growth. Thank you for choosing reflection over distraction. Thank you for showing up even when it's uncomfortable. This podcast exists because you do. And every download matters. Every message matters. Every listener matters. You are not just another number in an audience. You are the reason this continues. As we step into 2026 together, I want you to know this. I'm grateful for you. I believe in you. I'm proud of you. Not for where you are, but for the willingness to become more. So wherever this year takes you, lead yourself well, protect your standards, honor your growth, and never forget your influence grows every time you choose courage over comfort. I'm JV, and I want to wish you a happy new year and many blessings in 2026. Thank you. We did it.